everybody, welcome to Talks with Adri. Today it's our 11th episode and we're going to talk about what is going on with humanity and what is going on also with our environment and with our Mother Earth. All what we have seen up to now takes us to this point. Here we are in the crossroads where we're going to see why we're living what we're living, to understand what are the opportunities within this change, as well as see the things from a different perspective. All right, let's start. As you see in the pictures, we're facing a lot of poverty. We're facing also an unbalanced world. This is regarding humanity. And if we go to those few that are very, let's say, fortunate in this world, we're going to see that there is a lot of emptiness. That even though you are in a good economical condition, we are not feeling completely filled or whole in ourselves. So there is emptiness. So we can say that the model that we base our culture in is not winning. And this is based on humanity. And if we go and see our environment, well, this is what we're causing with the type of life that we're holding. Every time that we have more comfort in our homes and everything, we are causing a big damage to our environment. This is not sustainable in the long term. It is the time to stop thinking individually and stop thinking collectively. What are we going to do so we don't destroy ourselves? We cannot continue being caught in our own dramas and don't see around us. We just think that everything has to do with us and that's why we're not good right now. But we have to stop thinking that and say, okay, what is out there that is also not working? It is very important that we do it now because our Mother Earth is in a completely different cycle. She has another thing in mind. Meanwhile, we are in our daily dramas. She is in a transition from the third dimension to the fifth dimension. She is in a transition of ascension. We are facing a very important time in Mother Earth's life, and we cannot stay behind. This is not only happening to humanity, this is also happening to all the living beings on Earth. According to the Mayan Council of Elders based in Guatemala, the Kundalini of the Earth, the energy where it is born in Mother Earth, has changed from the Gobi Desert that was in China, at the north of China or at the south of Mongolia, has moved to Guatemala, to the Atitlan Lake. Why this happened? This happened because it is very important in order for Mother Earth to reach her ascension to balance the polarities of the world. We are in a very young and a very male energy world, and we need to move to this yin energy in order to balance, not to make them feminine power win, but to balance, because we are very far away from our center. If we remember in the previous talks, we said that the Mayan civilization was one of the ones that kept the secrets and kept all the information of the Atlantean times. They have the knowledge of the purpose of the first humans that were at those days in Atlantis. And additionally, because they also have a shamanic culture, they also have the knowledge of our ancestors, the Lemurians. So they know how to manage these feminine energies and how to reconnect with nature. Actually, they haven't lost that connection with nature. But they know how to return the Mother Earth into balance. And that's why the Kundalini of the Earth has moved to there, which means that the energy that the world is going to start projecting is going to come out from them from now on. Because all these knowledges are important to be spread and to be known for the rest of humanity in order for us to be able to reach the transition that Mother Earth is also facing, to see if we can move along with her. We are going to see that in this new world that Mother Earth is experiencing, we are going to start into a new era. This is going to be a new golden age, because this move from the third dimension to the fifth dimension is going to return the balance of the heart chakra. It's going to return love, and unity consciousness on Mother Earth. This is the basic principle. If we don't open our heart, we cannot ascend, we cannot move to this new golden age. And in this new age, we're going to unify or unite many concepts that had been divorced or separated, such as spirituality and science. And we already started seeing the first steps towards this unification. For example, in the field of the theorist physics, we're going to see this guy that we have over here that is called Professor Mikio Kaku. And he is a professor of the New York University, and he recently published 2 books. One, The Future of the Mind, and the second one, The Future of Humanity, Our Destiny in the Universe. These books start talking about all the possibilities that we as humans have and how we're going to move to also conquer the space. He agrees with what we explained in the second episode of Talks with Adri about the cycles. He knows that everything on the universe moves in cycles. So he's going to say that because everything moves in cycles, it is possible to predict what is going to happen on Earth. And he says that in 15 million years, actually the Earth is going to collapse against the Sun, or the Sun is going to eat the Earth. In 15 million years, we're going to face a lot of asteroid collisions. In 19,000 years, we're going to face a new ice age, very difficult for humanity to survive. And in decades, we're going to face the climate change due to the global warming and to the nuclear proliferation. We think, or science says, that this global warming is going to happen because of the emissions of carbon dioxide that we are producing. But not necessarily. According to Greg Braden, there is another cause. The cause that the global warming is a symptom of the polar shifts. And I'm going to explain the polar shifts later. So it really doesn't matter what it is the cause, but we're going to face a climate change. And these can really create the extinction of many beings on Earth. There are going to be parts of Earth that are going to become inhabitable. Nobody is going to be able to live there. Not plants, not humans, not animals, nothing. So it is something that it is really important, and that it is not affecting only us, that it is affecting all. So that's why we need to think collectively, including animals and other living creatures. This is not the first time that there are going to be massive extinctions on Mother Earth. It happened to the dinosaurs, it happened to like in the Great Flood, as we explained also in previous episodes. But there is always hope. We have to remember always the Pandora myth. There is always hope. And actually, Professor Mikio Kaku is very optimistic about the future. He's going to say that this is happening at the same time that we are living the golden age of the universe exploration. We have had many developments in science that for humans in the next 100 years we're going to be able to reach the stars and actually build civilizations that are going to be sustainable in the moon, Mars, and even beyond. This is going to be given thanks to the developments on robotics, nanotechnology, biotechnology, and many other fields, such as also physics. But what it is important about this is that that is going to change our perspective of the world. In the moment that we're able to go out to the outer space, we're going to face many possibilities of changing our perception, of having a different human evolution. He's going to say not only that we're going to reach the stars and be able to develop sustainable civilizations, but he's also going to explain how we're going to travel. He's going to say that we're going to digitize the human body and we're going to go being molecules into another place. And then we can reassemble our body or live in a different way. And if we're able to master our energy, we are going to be able to travel through wormholes, we're going to discover the multi-universe, the parallel realities, and many other things that are completely going to change our system of beliefs and the limitations that humans have. And he says that we're going to reach this in the moment that we're able to increase our level of consciousness, increase our frequency higher than the speed of light. So now we see that science is explaining us how to do it, a way to do it. He also is going to say that if we master our energy, we're going to be able to reach immortality, because we're completely going to leave our physical bodies. We're going to be able to manifest instantly with our mind. And additionally, we're going to be able to laser pointing into new heavens. So in the way that we see now that we are going to heaven, we're going to discover that there is much more than the heaven that we have on earth. So this is going to completely change our perspective towards reality. Remember, reality is always only one, but the perception of all the different living creatures is what makes complete the reality as a whole. He's going to say as well that thanks to the observation that they have done of the stars, they are not looking for aliens or something out there, but they can mark what is the level of energy of the different stars. And because of this, they have discovered different types of civilizations. The first civilization that they found out was the planetary civilization. So it's going to be a civilization that manages the whole planet, that is able to alter the weather, the atmosphere, the geological phenomena. And this is going to be a planetary civilization, type 1. He says that the planetary civilizations are going to be like the ones that they are shown in Flash Gordon or in Buck Rogers. These were cartoons, or these were science fiction movies that are explaining us in a way how these civilizations work. The type 2 civilization is going to be the stellar civilization, something similar to Star Trek. Here, they are going to completely dominate or control the outcome of the star. They are going to know how it behaves, how it works, the energy, the source of energy within the star, and so on. And we have the type 3 civilization, which is the galactic civilization, where they don't only control a planet or a star, but a whole galaxy, a whole system. So they are going to be able to travel to wormholes. They are going to be able to know what are the different beings and civilizations within the galaxy, and what is their way that they establish the relationships and all this. So there are different types of civilizations out there already explained by science, by the theorist physics, and we are going to go in less than 100 years to be a planetary civilization. This is what Professor Mikio Kaku says. He's very optimistic about the future, and he says this is going to happen very, very quick. Why? Because we already developed robots. We already developed machines that are like ourselves, that are able to go out and explore. And if we find the conditions that are good for us, or if we can adapt the environment to the conditions for us to live there, we're going to be able to do it. Just reproducing something that is like yourself and making copies of it, like the theory of fractals or like the patterns, is something that also nature does. So in the same way that everything evolves in nature, we are going to do the same as human beings, reaching the different parts of the galaxy and of the planet. This is like the next step. He's going to say that there was a movie called Movie of 2001, and that is the way that we are going to move into the space. But it didn't really happen in 2001, but it is going to happen in 2100, let's say in 2100. And what it is important of this is how our consciousness, how the limits that we have in our mind are going to change, because we're going to remove the boundaries in order to be able to explore the space. It doesn't mean that we're saying that we have to move away from Mother Earth, no, but in order for us to transcend and to continue with our civilization and to continue with our species, we need to think in different things, because it is possible to transcend these cycles of destruction if we raise our consciousness. That is the most important. So it is important also to think right now, where are we? Which type of civilization we are? Well, we haven't reached to be the type 1 planetary civilization. But that is the trend. That's where we're going. If you see, thanks to the internet, we're now talking about a global language. We are now sharing all the discoveries and the advances in science, in technology. We can open our minds and talk with people from all around the world. What we have to do now is to integrate not only humanity, but the other living beings in order to move towards a planetary civilization. Why we have so many beings on the planet Earth right now? As I mentioned, we are right now moving from the 3rd to the 5th dimension. In order to reach the 5th dimension, we are going to have to advance in many fields, because humanity is a little bit delayed as compared to our potential of development. But we have the assistance of many beings that are here on Earth helping us to evolve. And they are more technologically advanced than us, they are more spiritually advanced than us, they are more physically advanced than us. And they are the Arcturians, the Pleiadians, the people from Sirius, and all these beings that we have talked about, and there are many others, consciousness, that are helping us. They communicate with us through thought and through emotions. So that's why sometimes we receive great ideas in many different parts of the world. Many individuals that are working in certain fields receive the same idea and they are able to develop it in a different way. This is one of the ways that we're channeling this information from the Akashic records and from the library of the universe, from the other peoples of the stars. Previously, it was very difficult for us to really reach our spiritual guides and to be able to listen to them and to feel them. It took 50 years for monks to develop all these awakening consciousness and be able to listening to them. Right now, they are here on planet Earth. First, because the planet is raising its vibration, so it is possible for them to access us easier. And second, they respect the free will, but if you ask for it, if you want to know, please guide me for the next step, you are going to receive the answers to your questions very easily. You just have to close your eyes and listen to your heart. That is the way, through feeling and through thoughts, but reconnecting with yourself, with your inner self. That's why many of the ancient traditions says that the answers are within. You just have to close your eyes and go inwards, but this time is going to be very easy. There are different types of beings here. We have the Ascended Masters and these beings that are consciously helping humanity. We have the beings that are reincarnated and are among us, among humanity, but that they have like a light, like a special force that are illuminating in different fields humanity. This is like the new crystal kids, the indigo children, the crystal indigo rainbow. They all come to change the patterns, the structures that we live, because that is only going to condemn us to destruction. So that's why they come to change these paradigms with their way of thinking, with their only existence, with the things that they do. So let's say that the kids are teaching the parents, not the parents teaching the kids. And it is all based on love. The big way of learning is through love, through the kids' eyes, and see how they conceive the world different. That is going to open our minds to be able to see the reality in a different perspective. And the other type of people that are the majority, which are the people that are sleeping and that they are just awaking. They're just receiving a call from their heart that is saying, things cannot continue in this way. You are just wasting your time with materialism, with being concerned with your own dramas. There is something more. Life cannot just be this. And they are just awaking. So just think for a moment what type of person you are. Are you just kind of awaking? Do you think that you're here for a special purpose? Do you feel in your heart that that you can do something else and help the world somehow? Or are we so evolved that we are ascended masters and we are consciously helping humanity? Well, if you are, just let me know. Another thing that is going to make us advance in a lot of fields is the tapping again into all the knowledge of the ancient civilizations. That's why we're having a lot of discoveries in the anthropology, with the technology, checking underground, finding previous cities, codexes, well, many things, understanding ancient languages that are going to give us also the knowledge of previous societies and civilizations. So all this together, and with the internet being able to share all this knowledge so fast, so quick, is going to really makes us have a lot of advances in many different fields. Other thing that is going to happen with this move from Mother Earth, from the third to the fifth dimension, it is that it is going to collapse all the institutions. Yes, we cannot continue with the paradigm of the economy because it is not fair. It doesn't vibrate with the unity consciousness. We cannot continue with the politics because long time ago the politics lost their purpose, which was having a government that benefits the people. Right now it is not based on collective benefit but in individual selfishness. We are going to also, all the paradigms such as politics, economics, religion, education, all of them are going to collapse. Businesses, and within the businesses, the banking, some structures that we consider so solid, they have to break down or transform themselves in order to continue, if they want to continue, because the new golden age cannot hold these energies of destruction. So the banking, the pharmaceutical companies, the coal, the oil, the telecommunications, the media, the fashion, all these trends that are only based on selfish purpose. And therefore they had affect society, they had affect the environment. They just have to collapse, to be destroyed, to be changed, to transmute, to transform in order to continue. So this is one of the other things that are going to happen. Another critical point, according to this collapse of the institutions, is the elections of the United States. Why the elections in the United States? Because if you see, the whole world is driven or guided by the consciousness or by the culture of the United States. Whatever it happens in the elections is going to speed up or delay the process of transformation that we are facing on Mother Earth. But the transformation and the change is inevitable. It's something that it is going to happen for sure, as a fact. And let's see what is going to happen with this process, because whatever it happens there is going to change and alter our point of view regarding the world. And at the end of all this, it is a fact that we're going to face, before reaching peace, we're going to face probably more wars, we're going to face more struggling, such as the coronavirus that we're facing right now. But at the end, there is going to be peace. There is going to be peace, and we're going to reconnect with nature, we're going to reconnect with everything, we're going to come back to do what we love to do, not what we are forced to do. The education system is also going to be transformed. We don't have to work for making money and be successful and be admired by others. No, we're going to be able to study and develop in the field that we connect with our heart, that we are happy to do, that we love to do. So all these things are definitely going to be transformed. One thing that I would like to say is that this quarantine period is a really important period of transformation. The Toltecs, and especially Sergio Margaña, is going to say that the coronavirus and the quarantine period didn't come along only with the lockdown. No, it was not just go to your home, watch TV and enjoy, have a vacation. It came with a lot of, let's say, psychological aspects in your mind. It came with the need of questioning and redefining the education system, the family. Am I connected with my family or I am disconnected with my family? The values of my family, the love within. I cannot give now the education of my kids to an institution and just wash my hands and do nothing. No, we are reintegrating many values: education, work, the purpose of my work, what I'm doing with it. Is it serving the world or I am affecting the world with the job that I'm doing? And perhaps this is the opportunity of you doing something good for the world and also winning economically what you need in order to live. So there are many things, concepts that all the persons inside their homes and inside their own mind are redefining and changing right now. All these personal values that we are redefining are going to create a different collective dream, a different collective reality. Because we are changing our points of view towards the world, we are changing our perception, we are amplifying the range. And the Toltecs say very clear, please don't have expectations that the things are going to return to be like they were before. If you sit down in your home watching Netflix and just waiting for these things to end, you are completely losing a very big opportunity of self-transformation. And that is the reason of the quarantine, that is the reason of the coronavirus. We have to face a personal transformation in order to be able to enjoy this new golden age. We're not going to pass to the golden age right away. First, because we cannot physically, we are not ready to do it. We have to open the heart chakra. And for that, we have to first release all the fears, all the wounds, all the problems that we have in our first 3 energetic centers. We have to heal. So this is our opportunity of personal transformation, of facing our shadows, of bringing up to consciousness all these subconscious patterns that we have. And as the Toltecs say, face your underworlds, your infraworlds, bringing it to conscious, and then solve them, heal them, release the fear. And when we have released all these fears, and that's why the world as a whole is going to be in chaos for a while. Meanwhile, we all release these things until we reach the point until we say, we don't care anymore. This is what it is. Then we're going to be able to move to this new experience. And then we're going to open our heart. Without opening the heart, we cannot pass to this new reality. Many persons that have been in this period of transformation for a long time, they already jump from the 3rd dimension to the 5th dimension to the 4th dimension to the 5th dimension in their daily lives. Every time that you try to reconnect with somebody, that you stop saying, oh no, I don't have time for this, quarantine is giving us the time for reconnecting with all what you love, with what you love to do, with the persons that you love. That is the space that we have. So this has been a period of transformation, an opportunity, a great, wonderful opportunity if you're taking it like that. If in the contrary, you say, why this is happening to us, I hope that this finish, you are going to clash with many things. Because you are not going to understand that collectively we definitely need to change. So the first thing that we need to do in order not to suffer with this transformation is letting go. Not having the expectation that the things are going to come back as they were. But we have to be also optimistic. Things can change to have a better outcome, to be better off. They don't have to change to be worse. Obviously, we are going to face this chaos for a period of time, but it is not too long. According to the astrological predictions and everything, next year is going to be very decisive for all what is going on. And it is going to be like the step to this balance, especially between female and male energies. And later in 2026, we are going to start living the golden age and completely consolidated in 2052. So all the persons that are listening this, at least the ones that I see here, we are going to be able to experience this new golden age in this lifetime. So it is something that it is very positive. Imagine a world that it is with full respect of all nature. A world that it is also discovering the universe. A world in which we don't have to fight with each other. In a world that we reconnect, we end up this false reality of disconnection, this false reality of duality. And we reconnect with the source and know that every living being, that every person, that every creature has God within. So I also worship, give my love and respect to these other beings around me. This is going to make a completely change, especially because if I understand that with my behavior and with everything, I have responsibility in this transformation, we have to change. We have to change the way that we eat. We have to change the way that we buy. We have to change the way that we live. We have to change the way that we speak. We have to change in many aspects of our lives. And the change already started, and we see it in the new generations. People are standing up with courage. No, our solar plexus is getting ready and saying, I don't agree with this. Women are also having a new voice, a voice of saying, respect me. I also can do it. But we cannot move into a matriarchal society, because if we move into this matriarchal society, we are going to create an imbalance again. What we have to do is balance both powers and give a voice also to nature. Because if we open our heart and we reconnect with nature, we are going to be able to grow together, increase the collective consciousness. Mother Earth cannot do it only with the humans. The process it is not only done by humans. We are the neurons of the planet, and that's why all what you see has to do with the mind, with what we as a species have created. But we are just part of the whole system. Let's say we are the neurons, but the whales are the cells of the heart, and the monkeys are the cells of the hands, and the water and the elements are also very important cells. And we all have to be clean, pure, working properly. Talking a bit about this personal transformation. So we cannot lose time. We definitely cannot lose time just waiting for the things to happen to us. We need to start studying. We need to see what is going on with the world. We need to take an active role in my daily decisions of how I can benefit our environment, how I can benefit and work together with the ascension of Mother Earth. So if we reach this transformation, if we as a species, as humans, are also moving from the third to the fifth dimension, we are also going to have many changes. Spiritually, we are going to move towards perfection, because it is like the right next step in evolution, passing from the third 4D to the fifth dimension. Additionally, we as persons are going to be completely satisfied, because we are going to do things that makes us happy, the job, the work that we love. And even though maybe we're going to be separated from other things that we used to like, and like global trends and all these, I'm going to be more connected with my neighbor. We're going to develop local communities where we are going to cultivate our own food with a different purpose, not the purpose of I'm going to sell everything and I'm going to cultivate this to massive sales. No, I'm going to do it with respect, to receive the benefits of nature. I'm going to work, reconnect with the land, with the atmosphere, with clean processes. And all these mental changes are going to create, mental and emotional changes are going to create a physical change. So we're going to pass from the 7 chakra system to a 12 chakra system. And we are going to be very clear with this, how it is going to happen in the last episode, in the 13th one. This is something that Leonardo da Vinci had very clear, that the Kabbalah has also very, very clear, how to become the full potential of humanity. We have a technology within that we have to reactivate. And activating this is what is going to be our spiritual development, and also what the science is saying that now it is possible. Obviously, these physical changes bring us to a different body, as we see here. This is a tall guy. We're going to be as tall as the giants that lived once on Mother Earth, as the people of Atlantis, like the colossals that are now contemplating and guarding the Egyptian temples, or the high status of Tula in Mexico, like our ancestors were once. Obviously, this has also a different development of the mind, of the pineal gland, of our heart, and the thyroid around us. And we're going to go a little bit farther in the future episodes regarding this. There is another thing that it is happening in parallel with the climate change and all this, the polar shift. Science doesn't accept this theory, and especially because if we accept it, for humanity that it is not prepared to see the things with a different perspective, this is going to cause a lot of fear. That's why it is not everybody is ready to listen. The polar shifts are something that had happened before on Earth. Science already proved that it happened 40,000 years ago, that it happened 13,000 years ago. And for example, it is written in the Mayan records that it happened also many times before. It's part of the cycle. But that, and it's something that causes massive extinction. What we are facing right now, and science has been following this up, is that the magnetism of the two poles are losing their strength, which means that they eventually think that if the things continue in this way, they are going to shut down. There is not going to be enough attraction from the South Pole and from the North Pole. What can happen? If this happens, the Earth moves very quickly, creating earthquakes, awaking the iron nucleus, let's say, and perhaps many volcanoes activities, earthquakes, balancing and moving the bodies of water. So that's why it also, in 13 years ago, created a flood. So many things can happen with this magnetic pole. And what happened previously to the few survivals was that they completely lost their memories, because it also affects the magnetism of our brain. This new position of Earth also affects the position towards the sun. So again, we're going to talk about places that are going to be not habitable by the living creatures that we know nowadays. Perhaps life evolves into different creatures, and that's why life is going to continue on Earth, but not life as we know. Greg Braden is going to say that the symptoms of the climate change had to do with these polar shifts, that this is just a symptom, that it has happened before, and it had nothing to do with the emissions of carbon dioxide. Obviously, that is not good for Mother Earth, but it is something that happens before the polar shifts. The Mayan Council of Elders are very clear, and all these ascended masters and these other sources that we have been talking through all these episodes say you have nothing to fear. You fear because we don't understand the cycles. We fear because we're living from our reptilian brain. We fear because we are in the vibration of the root chakra. But if you see, you're able to raise up your frequency to another chakra, especially to your heart, you will transcend the cycles. You don't have to die with this process that Mother Earth. And only if we reach the critical mass, it will take only one person with a full conviction, one man, one woman, and a third person to create the Trinity in order to create a different a different, let's say, reality. So it will take a full conviction of persons that are vibrating into another space in order to make this not happening. Because if we raise our frequency to the heart, to the unity consciousness, we understand, we will align our mind with our heart, and we understand that whatever we think, it will instantly manifest. It's one of the conditions of this new era. If we understand that we are creators and we don't want this to happen, you just have to not create it or stop the collective creation that we have done. The Hindus, the Tibetans, the Toltecs, the Mayans, obviously, and a little bit the Muslims, I forget the name, the Sufis had very clear the polar shifts, and that these have to do with the collective consciousness. This is something that happens because it is the end of a cycle that has to do with what we are thinking and creating, because we were in the other pole in this world of duality, because we were so far away from the source. So it will only take to come back to source in order to prevent it, or this automatically will change and we'll come back to source. In any case, what it will be important is not to lose our memory. If we know that we are eternal beings and that death is only the end of a cycle, but our energy transcends, we should not fear this. Perhaps we fear for this lifetime, but additionally, if what science is saying now and what the spirituality have been saying for centuries, we also don't have to die. If we prepare our bodies and we prepare our heart and we prepare our minds, we can go through this without really facing an end of our life. They say that this polar shift is going to come with 3 days of completely obscurity, or let's say of darkness. During these 3 days, all the energy, the light, the electricity, the internet is going to be shutting down, and that is going to be the end of this era, completely the end of this era and the beginning of the other one. At that moment, people will realize that not even the cell phone, not even the internet, all that is completely fake, and the only thing that you really have is yourself and the love that you have give to others. So let's say it is like the last proof among all that we are living, all this transition, but it's only going to be for a very short period of time. According to Drumalo Melchizedek, it's 3 days. According to the Toltecs, can be only 1 night. Or let's say that we are going to completely lose the perception of time, because it's going to be a period of completely darkness. Let's say a period where there is no morning, where there is not a new day for a while. And it has to be long enough for us to notice it. So it is not like an eternal night, but it is like a long night. And then we are going to be completely moved to our inner perception. And then we're going to realize if we're ready to move, go on with Gaia, or not going on with Gaia. What happens if at the end we are not ready? Many of us are facing a lot of points in our lives that are waking us up. So don't think that if you're not a spiritual, and if you're not doing meditation, or if you're not doing many things, yoga and all this, you are not evolving or ascending. No, because you are facing many particular things in your own reality, in your daily life, situations that are changing your mind, your perception, and opening your heart. Obviously, you can be stubborn and continue trying to maintain the status quo, and then you're not going to change. But if you're open for the change, if you see the things in a different perspective, the energy is very fair, and all this is going to be taken into account. If you definitely didn't change, what is going to happen is that your life is going to continue in another planet, and you lose the opportunity of ascension with this planet that is so loving and it is so wonderful, that all the beings on space wants to have an incarnation on Earth, because it is one of the best schools of evolution and development. That is why we are so important, or why Mother Earth is so important. So this is the invitation. The invitation is to see the quarantine period as an opportunity of self-transformation. You don't have to be a guru or a yogi in order to transform. This is done for human beings. It's done for everybody. Everybody is invited. But who decides to really accept the change and takes action in making the change, on doing the next right thing in your life? It doesn't have to be spiritual, but it has to be the right thing for your own system of beliefs. You are welcome into this new golden age. So thank you so much for your attention. This is the last picture where I'm going to say that salvation, that is a way of calling it, or ascension, is a process of do-it-yourself. It's a do-it-yourself affair. It has nothing to do with the rest. But changing yourself, we change the collective consciousness. So if you have any questions or something, please let me know. Let me stop sharing here. And I would like to hear you. Maybe you have something to say.
Yeah, according to Jumbalo Melchizedek, he says that activating our Merkaba is kind of the only way to survive through this period of time. I don't know if any other, the Toltecs or any other tradition says something about the Merkaba also, like Jumbalo does.
Exactly. In the next episode, today I just gave a diagnosis of why we were caring about the extraterrestrials being on Earth, the cycles, the ancient civilizations, the Atlantis and previous civilizations that have been extinct, and why all of that had to do with the present moment, what we're facing right now. And the next episode, I'm going to talk about the technology that our body means, because our body is a potentiality that we have not discovered or experienced yet. Not only the physical body, but also the mental and the emotional body. So our body as a whole, with all the dimensions that it is. So in the next episode, I'm going to explain this alchemy that we already started explaining from the Egyptians, from the Toltecs, and how we have to raise this vibration in order to activate this body, these 12 strings of our DNA, these 12 chakras. And the last episode, in the 13th one, the idea is that we put it into practice. So I'm going to explain the theory of how to activate our Merkaba, which is the other name of our body, in the next episode. And in the last one, we are going to do the guided meditations, some of the exercises that the Pleiadians have taught us, that the Toltecs do, blessings and awakening of our centers, prayers and all this, with chanting, with dancing, and that is the way. And you're going to see that the way is very fun. It's not difficult. It only requires discipline. So that's why I'm saying the invitation is for everybody. You don't have to be super smart. You don't have to have background on any field. You just have to be a human that wants to be happy and loving, that wants to be happy and kind. And that's the way that you open your heart chakra.